I've heard a lot of people say this, that they've been way too nice to people, growing up. And to that, I just simply say that you haven't been way too nice to people. You just haven't been real with people, okay? A lot of the times we cut off our own authenticity for other people's approval and validation. This is why I've titled this video today that the villain arc is the cure to your loneliness. Once you understand that you're the underdog, you start to work harder than everybody else. You start to actually make an effort to change your life around and change around perhaps even the very difficult circumstances that you're dealt with in your life, right? And so once you can understand how to do this for yourself, you don't feel lonely anymore. Because when you feel lonely, understand it, there's a freedom to that. You can do anything, you can be anything, you can say whatever you want, you can dance, you can sing. There's no one around to watch you. There's no one around there to check in on you and tell you, are you good enough or you're not good enough? So finding solace, finding a quiet time where you're just by yourself is going to be key to your transformation and your self-development, okay? Don't look at loneliness as this bad thing, that I don't have any friends, I don't have any, comrades supporting me. Having friends is important, having a tribe is important, but you have to be okay being by yourself in order to have a tribe. Just like you gotta fall in love with being broke in order to make money. Just like, you have to fall in love with being alone if you want to be in a relationship or even, be around other people. And, of course, my gene keys is a hermit opportunist, so I'm very used to being alone. I've observed people my entire life, and I'm completely fine being by myself. And I will be until the day I die, And if people want to come in and share that life with me and, be a part of that lifestyle that I'm creating or in this movement or vibe that I'm creating, then that's good news. That's great news, okay? I'm gonna still be doing events, and speaking of events, we have one coming up in Costa Rica, so if you're interested in that, it's gonna happen in August, so definitely let me know if you're interested in joining that. But yeah, man, think of your loneliness, not as loneliness, but as a freedom from the conformity that you've been fed. And why do I say villain arc? This has been a popular term nowadays, right? Specifically related to funk music and things like this. I find it really inspiring, as I'm sure a lot of people do. The youth also brought this to my attention with these new age bodybuilders, obviously, showing that they're going into the darkness, going into the cave. What that really is that power of shadow work, the power in facing the things that we've repressed or said, no, I'm not gonna, focus on this, or this is not as important. Like, I remember growing up, I never really placed that much importance on this thing. And once I did, hold on, I'm gonna just stop this and then start it again. So you might be just gifted, as an individual, and you haven't really discovered your gift yet. How are you gonna know what that gift is if you're not delving into the shadow, if you're not doing that shadow work? You see what I'm saying? So it's really, really important for you to understand how to really embrace yourself by being alone. And one of my mentors, AZD, he's always said that alone means all one. I'm all at one with something. I'm connected to the environment, so I might feel like I'm alone, but there's, bugs and, now that I got into spirituality, I understand I'm never alone because of all these entities and deities and ghosts and things in other realms that we can't really see. So we're never really alone, okay? We're always connected, and we're always connected to the one, to the absolute, to the source, to God, or the universe, whatever you want to refer to it as. That energy, that underlying higher intelligence, higher power, all-knowingness protects us. It really does. And if we ever feel like we're just by ourselves, and that, one of the things is that the more personal something is, the more universal it is, right? So when you feel like, oh, it's only me that is struggling with this issue right now, you'll be surprised. There's probably millions, thousands, trillions of people, who, well, not trillions, obviously, because trillion is a big number and that's more than the world's population. But yeah, millions of people in this world who are probably going through the same thing, okay? This is why it's so important to have support groups and communities and people who are like-minded, right? On the spiritual journey, I recently joined this community to do soul auditing with JF Jean-Francois. He does these soul audits where he rates basically the soul width and all the chakras, and he can test for different people's energies. So he's rated Einstein recently, I saw, and a couple of other celebrities as well. And I'm a part of his program, so I'm learning how to do that, and that's going to be really, really useful as a tech for myself to really understand, like, how I can help others to a greater degree, because now I have the rating scale, I have the formulation, the way to actually give someone a blueprint of where they're at, because he's not doing those soul audits anymore, so you got to get it through the people doing the soul audit program, so I myself being one of them. So it's a very interesting opportunity. I always look at these different things as opportunities, because why else would I be so drawn to it, and why else am I being called to join such a community or move forward and take action on that particular path working, right? So going back to the idea of loneliness is freedom, you gotta start to understand that we keep ourselves more separate in our minds than we actually are. Okay, a lot of people are thinking the same things, but if we break the ice and we think that, hey, this person's probably struggling to open up or even speak to me, and perhaps if I'm the first one to do it, they don't have to feel that awkwardness. So there's a sense of connectedness and love rather than a fear, right? When it comes down to socializing and just opening up and just saying hi and smiling to people, you don't need to do the greatest, you don't need to hold that conversation for the longest period of time. You can start practicing by asking people little things like, what's the time, or are you here by yourself, or just these little things that will start to stack, and you'll get more comfortable, more talkative, into a more talkative state. And it's good to be talkative. It's good to express yourself and not keep yourself so stuck in inwards. If you have social anxiety, these are some of the things that I would tell you to do, is to start by just making little comments about yourself, about what you observe, about your environment. A lot of the times you'll notice that people open up, and have the willingness to walk away from that, because you notice sometimes people drag you in. Like I remember yesterday, I was talking to this one woman, and I think I made a comment about her jacket, and I just looked back at my phone and I was kind of doing my own thing, but then she asked me, oh, are you here, are you, because this is a psychoanalyst conference, like, are you a psychoanalyst, or what are you doing, and so forth and so forth. And we got talking more and more, so she actually dragged me back into the conversation, just from a compliment, right? And that compliment is really, really important, because it opens people up. It gets people to feel seen, feel heard, feel respected, in a sense. And it was genuine. Like, she did have a really cool jacket, so I had to make sure that she heard that, because that was my expression. That was something that was bubbling up inside of me, because real recognize real. Okay, if I see something that I like, I'm going to state it. This is why it's so natural for me to go up and approach somebody, because they've already given me signs first that it's okay to approach them. They've either smiled at me, or they've given me the wave, or their body language is very open, or they're noticing me a lot, like they're looking at me like 7-8 times or whatever. I notice these little indicators of interest, and And then I will go and talk. I won't need to talk if somebody's closed off, looking at their phone, headphones in, in their own world, kind of with a pissed off resting bitch face. I'm not going to approach that person, okay? Because that's just not my vibe, because I'm already expecting something in my mind, like they're going to be like, oh yeah, I'm busy, or be like that. But of course there's rare occurrences where those people do open up and start talking as well, and it's just a mirage that we create in our heads, like, oh, they're just on their headsets or something like this, right? Or if we see two people together, we automatically assume that they're a couple, and so we don't talk to them or whatever, right? So these little things, they're all in the mind, okay? They're mental traps. If you can get yourself out of your mind, more into the presence, more into your physical body and what's really going on around you, you'll start to notice you ground yourself again. You don't feel so alone. You don't feel so lonely. And that's going to be a powerful shift in your consciousness when you realize how you can do that. Of course, this will take time. It's not going to happen overnight. But if you can delay your gratification, if you can create that magnetism of saying what you need to say and then walking away. Of course, not making that a habit either, because sometimes, it does become like that. But if you can make it more sustainable for you to do that, then it'll be very, very helpful. So it's early right now. It's like 10 o'clock. We're headed to the airport soon and headed back to Kolkata. Have an incredible day, guys. May the flow be with you. Stay legendary. Remember, you're not alone. You're all one. Let's go.